just gonna do some brief optimization. Okay. All right. Got a couple of things. We've offloaded a couple of things. I'm gonna offload. You know what? I'm gonna offload tits. I'm sorry. We're gonna offload the throwing system for a little bit. All right, it's better now. Okay. All right. Yep. I had some crow tabs running. No tits. I'm sorry. No tits for right now. No tits. And probably no sound alerts. I don't know if they work with the tab closed. So very sorry, but in the interest of offloading some stuff and improving some stream performance, yeah, that's those are the sacrifices we have to make. On the other hand, now that we're showing green, let me fucking go back to the beginning of this fucking testimony. I'm gonna fucking scream. I'm gonna scream.
Did he have anything in his hands or arms?
Well, not that I could see of.
Okay, so he's talking about the fact that he didn't see any, like, quote unquote curtain rods in Lee Oswald's hands as he was walking in.
Doherty was not a reliable witness. When questioned by the FBI and Secret Service, he appeared very confused about times and places. He required assistance from his father due to considerable difficulty in coordinating his mental faculties with his speech. While Doherty denied having such issues, his testimony is nonetheless riddled with contradictions.
Wait a minute, did you go to lunch?
Well, I went back downstairs to eat lunch. Yes, sir.
What time?
Oh, it was 12 o'clock.
Wait a minute. Did you before or after your lunch?
Before.
I'm pissed. What do you mean before?
You ate your lunch.
Let's see. Yes, I believe I did.
Now,
I believe I did. No, you're lying.
Before or after lunch?
It was before lunch. It was before lunch.
You think?
No, it was not.
I
Oh,
believe it was. Yes, sir.
you're a fucking liar.
He insisted that Oswald
I'm.
had nothing in his hands when he arrived at work.
This case fucking
His
sucks.
certitude was based on nothing but a glance.
Now, is that a very definite impression that you saw Oswald that morning when he came to work?
Well, it's like this. I'll try to explain it to you this way. You see,
Literally, they'll be like, "Oh, did you see Lee Harvey Oswald enter the building?" And the person will be like, yes, I did." And then the interviewer will be like, "Are you sure?" And they'll be like, "Well, what had happened was..." I'm not saying I'd be any better in these circumstances, okay? I know. Eyewitness accounts are notoriously bullshit, but
I was sitting on the wrapping table, and when he came in the door, I just caught him out of the corner of my eye.
You didn't even look at him! You didn't even look at him! Oh!
Minutes, the weight of evidence suggests he carried a package to work on the morning of November the 22nd. The contentious question is whether the package carried by Oswald was the same as the brown paper bag discovered on the 6th floor. According to both Randall and Fraser, the only two witnesses known to have seen the package, the answer was a definite no.
Now, was the length of the package any similar to the bag? Anywhere near similar?
Well, it wasn't that long. I mean, it was folded down at the top, as I told you. It definitely wasn't that long.
I told the FBI that as far as the length of the bag, I told them that was entirely too long.
Their main source of contention
Okay.
is that the package carried by Oswald was shorter than the brown paper bag. The bag was just long enough to store the rifle in its disassembled state, so if the package carried by Oswald was much shorter, then it could not have contained the rifle. Except Randall saw it briefly at a distance through a window. While Fraser never paid it much attention.
I'm going to light myself on fire.
There was something heavy in the package?
Well, I'll be frank with you, I didn't pay much attention to the package.
In
I
fact,
hate y'all.
the
I
length of
hate
the
y'all.
package seemed about as certain to Fraser as his lack of attention to it.
I didn't pay much attention. I didn't pay too much attention. I didn't pay any attention to it. I didn't pay much attention to the package.
Me when I don't pay too much attention to the package. Ah! Ah!
I didn't look at the package very much, like I say.
listen. If I ever bring a package onto the stream, if I am ever packing on this stream, I'm gonna need y'all to pay attention, okay? I cannot let that shit go unperceived. Got it? Got it? You will observe my package. You will pay attention, all right? You will pay that much attention to it. God damn it. And when they find rusty, crusty brown paper bags afterwards, you will know exactly whose package has been in them. Got it?
Didn't pay that much attention to it. I didn't pay too much attention to how he carried the package at all.
Do not be Wesley Fraser in my chat.
The brown paper bag had been constructed matched the tape and paper used to wrap books for shipping on the first floor of the book depository. Not only that, but a fingerprint.
It was a funny little bit. Thank you, chat.
Matching that of Oswald were also found on the bag. In spite of all this, some authors refused to accept that the brown paper bag and the package carried by Oswald were one and the same. Instead,
Even though they
argument
clearly
seems to be that
fucking
the bag
are.
was fabricated by authorities in an effort to frame Oswald. But you then have to square.
Frame him for what? He shot the fucking president. Listen, I know. Grassy Knoll, CIA, the CIA 1000% wanted JFK dead because JFK wanted the CIA to be dismantled. Got it? Or are we all on the same page? I understand it was an inside job. The government definitely fucking did it, okay? We can all agree on this. But you can't just say that the guy they set up as a proxy, a little puppet to draw attention to, you can't just say he was framed because that's not true. He shot the fucking ugh!
That against
Bro!
being found inside the book depository, Oswald already having curtains in his rented room in Dallas.
Ain't no fucking way he already had curtains! This man is stupid. The only reason why he wasn't caught until after he fucking shot JFK is because everyone else around him was stupider. There's no... This is the dumbest man alive. He couldn't even think of something long and hard that he didn't fucking own.
Failing to obtain permission from his landlady to redecorate. Him supposedly being in such urgent need of curtain rods that he just had to return to Irving on Thursday instead of waiting just one more day. Him neglecting to mention anything about curtain rods.
Everyone involved in this case is a fucking idiot.
Despite the fact that Payne actually
Oh my god.
curtain rods in her garage. The same garage where Oswald stored his rifle.
How did you learn of the shooting of President Kennedy?
I was watching television and Ruth said someone had shot at the president.
What did you say?
It was hard for me to say anything. We both turned pale. I went to my room and cried.
Did you think immediately that your husband might have been involved?
No.
Did Mrs. Payne say anything about the possibility of your husband being involved?
No, but she only said that, by the way, they fired from the building in which Lee is working. My heart dropped. I then went to the garage to see whether the rifle was there, and I saw that the blanket was still there, and I said thank God.
Did you look in the blanket to see if the rifle was there?
I didn't unroll the blanket. It was in its usual position, and it appeared to have something inside.
When did you learn?
You know, in movies when kids sneak out of the house and they to make their parents think they're still in bed, they shove a bunch of pillows under the blanket and stuff. I cannot fucking believe Lee Harvey Oswald did that to his rifle blanket. I can't fucking believe that shit. Because that means that in his head, he was like, oh, they're gonna televise this. My wife is going to see it. And when she finds out that the shots came from the book depository, she's gonna know me well enough to go check the fucking rifle blanket. And if it's not there, she's gonna fucking snitch on me. The leaps of logic, even if you're not considering this as a conspiracy, the leaps of logic that these people go through, the mental gymnastics required to be in the same trains of thought as these people in these moments is fucking insane. That's crazy. No way.
The rifle was not in the blanket.
When the police arrived and asked whether my husband had a rifle, and I said yes.
Then what happened?
They began to search the apartment. When they came to the garage and took the blanket, I thought, well, now they will find it. They opened the blanket, but there was no rifle there.
What was in there instead? Please tell me. Please. Please. I need to know what he thought would be rifle-shaped enough to pass as a rifle.
The rifle's discovery on the 6th floor of the Book Depository, Captain William Fritz was appraised of Oswald's absence. Fritz immediately left the building and returned to police headquarters.
We were standing in the hallway when Captain Fritz walked in. He walked up to my colleagues and made the statement to them, "Go get a search warrant and pick up a man named Lee Oswald." And I asked the captain why he wanted him, and he said, well, he was employed down at the Book Depository, and he had not been present for a roll call of employees. And we said, "Captain, we will save you a trip, because there he sits."
There he sits. The alibis. $10 says absolutely fucking none of this is gonna be worth shit.
After escaping the Book Depository, Oswald boarded a bus right about here. But the assassination ground traffic to a halt, so Oswald soon left the bus and hailed a cab. After returning to his rooming house in Oak
I think he
Creek,
was worried about getting arrested on the
southwest
bus.
of Dallas, Oswald changed his clothes, grabbed a gun, and left in a hurry.
78. 78. You are in the Oak Cliff area, are you not? Langston Road. You will be at large for any emergency that comes in.
Police patrolman J.D. Tippett encountered Oswald some 45 minutes after the shooting.
Not to keep pausing, I'm very sorry, but I think it's really interesting. And the theory that I saw on the internet, the vastly different ways in which people spoke back then versus like now. I think it's really interesting because like even like in like police like transmissions, they sound different. And I've read somewhere that a running theory is that people back in the day consumed their media largely through radio. And so their speech patterns sort of mimicked the voices they would hear like on the radio. Whereas today we have like television and the internet and stuff. And that's why like, not even really dialects, but like the specific like cadences that you hear in the past versus like in the present are just like ever so slightly different. And I think it's a very interesting theory to think about.
A bit further south, right about here. As soon as Tippett stepped out of the vehicle, Oswald drew his gun and fired 4 shots in rapid succession.
Damn!
Hello, police operator. Go ahead, it says news. Hello, we've had a shooting out here. Where is it at? Between Marsalis and Buckley. It's a police officer. Somebody shot him. What's this? 404 10th Street. 78. It's in a police car. Notify one that the officer involved in the shooting, which is Officer J.D. Tippett, we believe, was pronounced DOA at Methodist one.
Aw.
Well, any indication that it has any connection with this other shooting?
I mean, he's a cop, but like at the same time, that was like unprovoked. Like Lee Oswald he really was in that position of like, it is on site. Like, is that true? Like when you kill somebody, do you really get that paranoid? Like I wouldn't know because I've never killed somebody. Not that you can prove. But if it were me, okay, if it were me, and I like saw a police officer, my first reaction would not be to shoot him, you know, because then they'd know that I killed JFK. Imagine just hearing about a shooting, having no internet or anything. That's awful. Just be like, oh shit.
Oswald was then caught sneaking into a nearby movie theater without purchasing a ticket.
Wait. What?
Oswald was then caught sneaking into a nearby movie theater without.
He killed the president. He killed a cop, and then decided, you know what? I gotta show an Oppenheimer. I got a couple minutes. What the fuck?
Purchasing a ticket.
You'd be iconic if you weren't so fucking stupid.
A large contingent of officers descended upon the theater. They surrounded the building, switched on the lights, and approached the suspect. Flanked by officers, Oswald drew a gun, and a brief scuffle ensued. But this time he was quickly subdued, handcuffed, and taken to police headquarters back in downtown Dallas.
Damn!
Over the next 2 days, between his arrest and untimely death, Lee Harvey Oswald was interrogated by members of the Dallas Police, FBI, Secret Service, among others. None of it was recorded.
That's suspicious. That's suspicious. That's weird. What do you mean none of it was recorded?
We need one. If we had one at this time, we could have handled these conversations far better.
No
The
way!
police department doesn't have one.
No, sir. I have requested one several times, but so far...
You know what? You know what? You know what? Hold on. We need... Give me a second. Because... Ain't no fucking way, bro. Here we go. There we go. Post-it note of shame. Post-it note of shame. There's no fucking way you just happened to not have a tape recorder when you were talking to the guy who fucking killed John F. Kennedy. No fucking way. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. What happened to it? This is insanity. This is insanity. There's no fucking way. Oh my God, there's no fucking way. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna hide it and I'm gonna fucking throw it up on the screen anytime anybody says some shit like that because there's no fucking way.
Or they haven't got me one.
So no one knows exactly what was said inside this room. Instead, we have to settle for the cliff notes. And of especial interest to us is Oswald's alibi.
These people have given me a hearing without legal representation or anything.
Oh, whoa, hold on. What was that? What was that?
For the cliff notes.
Who's that?
And
Hold
of
on.
special interest to us is Oswald's alibi.
These people have given me a...
Pause. What's going on right here? What is there? Are there some interpersonal relations that we need to be talking about here? Is this an inside job on more than one account? You wanna talk about this little like grip you get on his waist there? Damn, hey yo.
He goes to Oswald, who said he did not shoot anybody.
Oswald vehemently denied any involvement in the assassination. Instead, he claimed to have eaten lunch with two co-workers on the first floor of the depository. One of them was a black co-worker whose name Oswald could not recall. The other was James Jarman.
Were you with anybody when you were walking around on the first floor finishing your sandwich?
No, I wasn't. I was trying to get through so I could get out on the street.
Did you see Lee Oswald?
No, I didn't.
After his arrest,
Love him. He didn't even coordinate that. He was like, "Oh, I was with James," and James was like, "I don't see shit. I don't know."
But according to another interrogator, Oswald's claim was not to have eaten lunch with Jarman and this unnamed co-worker, but merely that he saw them pass through the lunchroom while he was eating.
No.
Oswald stated that he
dumbass
lunch in the lunchroom at the Texas School Book Depository alone, but recalled possibly two black employees walking through the room during this
Possibly. Fuck this guy. He's...
One of these employees was called Junior, and the other was a short individual whose name he could not recall,
Nah.
but would be able to recognize.
So, according to this version of events, Oswald's alibi was that he possibly saw two co-workers, one whose name he could not recall, enter and traverse the lunchroom, together or separately, during an unspecified period of time. Whether Oswald claimed to
he has nothing. He has absolutely nothing.
Colleagues, it makes no difference because neither alibi could be substantiated. Instead, James Jarman had last seen Oswald taking an elevator upstairs sometime between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. William Shelley and Eddie Piper had last seen Oswald roaming about the first floor around noon, at which time Oswald had told Piper that he was either going out or going up to eat lunch. Then there's the account of Charles Givens. You may recall that Givens is officially recognized as the last person inside the book depository known to have seen Oswald before the assassination. Their encounter was fixed at 11:55 and is supposed to have taken place on the 6th floor. But prior to relating this version of events, Givens had reportedly told the FBI that he saw Oswald on the first floor at 11:50, a statement which he later denied ever making. Either way, Oswald being on the first
This case drives me fucking insane.
Absolutely nothing to prevent
I'm going crazy.
half an hour later.
Oh my
unless
God.
Carolyn Arnold is to be believed.
As Mrs. Arnold was standing in front of the building, she stated she thought she caught a fleeting glimpse of Lee Harvey Oswald standing in the hallway between the front door and the double doors leading to the warehouse located on the first floor. She could not be sure that this was Oswald, but she said she felt it was and believed the time to be a few minutes before 12:15 p.m.
So that would be about here. In a subsequent statement, Arnold claimed to have gone outside as late as 12:25, thereby pushing the time of her potential ground floor sighting of Oswald as close
Ground
as
floor
5
mentioned?
minutes before the shooting. Putting aside the fact that her observation was described as a fleeting glimpse and that she could not be certain of the man's identity, Arnold herself will later deny it ever happened.
That is completely foreign to me. It would have forced me to have been turning back around to the building when, in fact, I was trying to watch the parade. Why would I be looking back inside the building? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Instead, Arnold claimed that this encounter had actually taken place in the second floor lunchroom.
I do not recall that Oswald was doing
What
anything.
the fuck?
I just recall that he was sitting there in one of the booth seats on the right-hand side of the room as you go in. He was alone, as usual, and appeared to be having lunch.
What
I did
the
not
fuck?
speak to him, but I recognized him clearly.
The problem with both of these accounts is that none of her colleagues reported anything remotely similar. Whether it was the first or second floor, Oswald was apparently invisible to everyone but Arnold. Besides, it took Arnold 15 years to relate her revised version of events.
Nah.
Not ideal for such a time-sensitive issue.
Nah.
That being said, depending on what conspiracy theory you're willing to entertain, there are ways to interpret what Oswald told his interrogators so that it aligns with either one of Arnold's accounts. Take this one for instance.
I have hiccups. Is it because of this fucking clownery happening?
On the morning of November the 22nd.
Actually, anytime I eat Subway sandwiches, I get hiccups, like every single time.
Second floor to get a Coca-Cola and returned to the first floor to eat lunch. Then he went outside to watch the presidential parade.
This claim is interesting because in the early days of the assassination, it appeared to be supported by photographic evidence. But this figure was quickly identified as Billy Lovelady, a man who bore such a close resemblance to Oswald that when footage of Oswald first appeared on television, Lovelady's stepchildren thought it was him.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, chat. Is there a basis that this claim is allowed to stand on? Do they actually look alike? I think that's bullshit. I don't think they... No. That's a load of shit. They don't look alike at all. What the fuck? Oh, they could be twins. His kids thought it was him. Ain't no fucking way they did. You're lying to me right now. That's two different men. Nah. Sorry. Nah.
Now, speaking only for myself here, really? Am I missing something here? Because they're not exactly doppelgangers.
Thank you, let me know. Thank you, let me know for
Here's another such figure
validating me.
Fewer pixels to work with has once again been the subject of debate. Because this much of a person can't be positively identified.
I will jump off of a bridge if anybody tried to argue that this was Lee Harvey Oswald. No. No.
Some believe it, therefore, it must be Oswald.
No!
Oswald
No!
explicitly denied watching the motorcade when he spoke with another interrogator, not to mention that his presence outside went completely unnoticed by all those who did watch the motorcade. Now, there's one final account of Oswald's supposed alibi that stands out from the rest. It stands out because it really skirts the line of self-incrimination.
Self-incrimination. I can't wait to hear this shit.
Whereabouts at the time of the shooting. Oswald stated that when lunchtime came and he didn't say which floor he was on, he said one of the black employees invited him to eat lunch with him, and he stated, "You go on down and send the elevator back up, and I will join you in a few minutes."
No fucking way he said that. No fucking way. He didn't even have it in him to lie about that one.
Before he could finish whatever he was doing, he stated the commotion surrounding the assassination took place. And when he went downstairs, a policeman questioned him as to his identification, and his boss stated that he is one of our employees, whereupon the policeman had him step aside momentarily. Following this, he simply walked out the front door of the building.
If this is an
Nah.
accurate recollection of what Oswald said, he
Oswald
placed
is a
himself on the
fucking
floor
moron.
above the second at the time of the shooting.
Good
When he
God.
neglected to mention which floor, he described a conversation between himself and an unnamed black co-worker, which sounds remarkably similar to the one described by Charles Givens. This would mean that Oswald, seemingly by accident, placed himself on the 6th floor during the shooting.
That's fucking crazy.
After that horribly confusing mishmash of stories, what have we learned? Well, Oswald appears to have contradicted himself by
He really said, oh, they were like, where were you at the time of the shooting? And he was like, oh, I did it. I did it. I'll fucking do it again. No! No! He might as well just be like, oh, and I decided I was gonna fucking eat my lunch in the corner, and there was a gun there, and I'm not really sure what that was doing there. What an idiot.
offering multiple alibis. It's also possible that what he said was misunderstood or otherwise misrepresented by the interrogation participants. As mentioned at the beginning of all this, we don't actually know what Oswald said.
Honestly, if you want my opinion on what happened in that room because they didn't have a tape recorder, I think they literally pulled him aside and said, good job. You did good work out there, kid. Fuck. Damn.
This is all
This
based
is
on
crazy.
second-hand accounts related days, weeks, or even months after the assassination. But the main takeaway has to be the lack of corroboration. With the exception of Carolyn Arnold, a highly unreliable witness, no one laid eyes on Oswald between roughly noon and the shooting. At least, no one inside the Book Depository.
Yeah, because he was in the fucking sniper's nest killing the president! Fuck this noise, bro. Damn.
Among those who witnessed the sniper in the sniper's nest, Howard Brennan was the only one who thought he could identify the gunman. At least, that's what he stated initially. Within a few hours of the shooting, Brennan had become far less certain.
Upon arrival at the police station, Mr. Brennan said, I don't know if I can do you any good or not, because I've seen the man that they have under arrest on television. And he said, I just don't know whether I can identify him positively or not. Because he said that the man on television was a bit disheveled, and his shirt was open or something like that. And he said, the man I saw in the Book Depository was...
The man on television was a bit disheveled, and his shirt was open, and his pecs were glistening with sweat, and he kind of... Sorry, what were you talking about?
not in that condition.
Brennan was then brought down to the basement of the police station to
No,
view a
no,
lineup of
no,
suspects.
no.
Among them was Oswald.
Mr. Brennan looked very carefully, and he said, I cannot positively say. I said, well, is there anyone there that looks like the man in the Book Depository? He said, well, that second man from the left, who was Oswald, he looks like him. Then he repeated that the man he saw in the Book Depository was not disheveled.
So, that's not ideal. While Brennan did pick Oswald from a lineup, that identification was far from certain. But if Brennan is to be believed...
No fucking way. He can only identify him in this one particular shirt. If he's like... If he's a little roughed up, it's a different guy.
At that time, and I still believe the assassination was a communist activity. And I felt
Oh, brother.
And if it got to be a known fact that I was an eyewitness, my family or I, either one, might not be safe.
Well, if you wouldn't have identified Oswald during the lineup, might he not have been released by the police?
No, I already knew they had the man for murder, and I knew he would not be released.
The murder of whom?
Sir J.D. Tippett.
Well, what happened in between to change your mind that you later decided to come forth and tell the FBI that you could identify him?
After Oswald was killed, I was relieved quite a bit that, as far as pressure on myself of somebody not wanting me to identify anybody, there was no longer that immediate danger.
Bullshit.
Could you tell us now whether you can or cannot positively identify the man you saw in the 6th floor window as the same man that you saw in the police station?
I could at that time. I could, with all sincerity, identify him as being the same man.
He really just said, yeah, I lied to y'all.
Within a few hours of the assassination, he'd become concerned that it was the product of a communist conspiracy.
Wait, you ever see that guy? Yeah, yeah, that who? wait, wait, wait.
Who?
So the internet is a big
Oh,
place.
what is happening? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Another video started playing. Get out of here! Get out of here! I'm busy talking. I'm busy watching about JFK.
He feared that should he attempt to identify the gunman, he could become a target and thereby endanger his family.
Did you and your wife
Dude, the Red Scare was fucking crazy.
and you being present more or less at the scene of the assassination?
Yes, we discussed it. We talked. I talked of moving her and my grandson, who was living with us at that time, and my daughter, moving them out of town somewhere in secrecy. My wife seemed to think that a person can't get away wherever they go.
So when Brennan was brought down to view a lineup later that evening, he feigned uncertainty to protect his family. At least, so he claimed. I leave it up to you to decide whether to believe or disbelieve Brennan's story.
Chat, do we believe him?
On Sunday morning, November the 24th...
I almost do, because that level of delusion is like only the 1960s can encapsulate.
Police station, a local news correspondent couldn't help but to jinx the whole shebang.
Now, this is the armored truck that will carry Lee Harold Oswald from the basement here of Dallas Police Headquarters downtown to the Dallas County Sheriff's Office and the Dallas County Jail. Strict security precautions have been exercised from the very beginning and have been even increased this morning as fear arises and grows stronger that someone may attempt to take the life of the man accused of murdering the President of the United States.
That's funny. That's funny as fuck. Oh my god. That's so funny.
He's been shot. He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot.
The doctors at Parkland Hospital said that the single shot could scarcely have done more damage to a body than that shot did to Lee Harvey Oswald. It penetrated his spleen, his pancreas, the aorta, the kidney, and the liver.
That much? They fucked his shit up. Damn.
PM. He died. That's one.
Oswald expired at 1:07 p.m. He died? No fucking shit, he died. My headphones fell off. I love that shit. He died? He died?
1:07 p.m. We have arrested the man. The man will be charged with murder. Who is he? The suspect's name is Jack Rubenstein, I believe. He goes by the name of Jack Ruby. That's all I have to say.
Insane. Some thoughts. I just know he has no idea what the fuck to make of this.
Throughout this video, we've encountered witnesses who not only contradicted each other, but also themselves. Central to many arguments of conspiracies that these contradictions represent attempts by the conspirators to conceal the truth. To give you an example, Charles Givens initially claimed to have seen Oswald on the first floor at 11:50. Then he denied ever saying that and claimed to have spoken with Oswald on the 6th floor at 11:55. Some authors have found this change a bit too convenient and suspected Givens was coerced to change his story by the conspirators. In support of that conclusion, we have this document in which Dallas Police Lieutenant Jack Revel said the following.
Lieutenant Revel stated that Givens had been previously handled by the Dallas Police Department on a marijuana charge, and he believes that Givens would change his story for money.
About 2 months later, Givens did precisely that. He changed his story. But let's have a think about this. According to this interpretation of events, the conspirators had free rein to dictate Given's testimony. They could have told him what to say or perhaps rewritten his testimony after the fact. You may recall that that is precisely what Victoria Adams claimed and Carolyn Arnold implied earlier in the video, that someone had put words in their mouth by altering the written record. Okay, so wielding that near limitless power, what words did the conspirators choose to put in the mouth of Givens? Well, they supposedly invented a brief conversation about lunch in elevators away from the sniper's nest more than half an hour before the shooting. I guess I saw Oswald sitting in the sniper's nest, or even I saw Oswald carrying a large package heading for the sniper's nest, was a bit too on the nose. The same is of course true of every other witness in Dealey Plaza. Apart from the doubtful identification by Howard Brennan, no one could actually place Oswald in the sniper's nest at the time of the shooting. I really cannot stress this enough. It apparently did not occur to the conspirators to have at least one witness unambiguously identify Oswald as the assassin. Better yet, take a photograph. For all this talk of witness coercion and evidence tampering, that seems like a bit of an oversight. What I'm trying to illustrate is that it's surprisingly trivial to pluck a stray document here, an unfounded allegation there, and sprinkle in some thoughts about...
Oh my god, that's weird, seeing the whole thing from the street level. Oh, that's weird.
Sounds convincing. Whether it's organized crime, a foreign government, or domestic agency, there's enough material here to make a compelling case against countless groups and individuals, something upon which many authors, filmmakers, and others have capitalized to great success. I don't know if all of them are right or wrong. This video clearly doesn't cover enough ground for me to determine that. But to ascribe a conspiratorial motive to anything remotely suspicious seems irresponsibly black and white for a case so clouded by shades of gray. A person acting in a way that's unlawful, unethical, untruthful does not prove they colluded in a plot to assassinate the President of the United States. Such thrilling leaps of conspiracy make for entertaining stories, but that doesn't make them true. Remember Thomas Ollier? He was the journalist filming on the 6th floor during the initial search for the assassin. Decades later, Ollier began accusing officers of tampering with the evidence, staging photographs, and lying under oath. The veracity of those allegations aside, the fascinating thing about Ollier is that he never believed Kennedy fell victim to a conspiracy. Ollier had a refreshingly nuanced take on the assassination by recognizing that evidence of corruption is not...
Without my film, the conspiracy buffs will continue to go unchallenged to promote their hoax. Their claims of government participation in President Kennedy's assassination has and is being taught in many colleges.
The same as evidence of conspiracy. Sloppy police work neither began nor ended with the Kennedy assassination.
The testimony of Lieutenant John Day and Detective Robert Studebaker is completely false from beginning to end. I suggest their reason was to protect their boss, Captain Fritz, and perhaps their own pensions.
People lie for all sorts of reasons. Loyalty, embarrassment, fear, pride, attention, power, money. There's no shortage of motivations to choose from. Besides, what kind of clueless masterminds would allow a cameraman to casually film their supposed cover-up? Something I found myself doing a lot while making this video was attempting to view the assassination from the perspective of the alleged conspirators. You could, for instance, question the logic of placing an assassin in this specific window, a window in which he ran the risk of being caught red-handed by other workers inside the building, a window in which he could have easily been and actually was spotted by spectators in the approaching motorcade, a window from which his view was partially obstructed by a tree.
That's a good point. After this, we're gonna watch a video about how it was all a conspiracy, but yeah, that's a good point.
Shoot at a moving target in the first place, especially when that person had a tendency to stand still in very exposed public places. If Oswald acted alone and the assassination was a crime of opportunity, these less than ideal choices start to make a lot more sense. He found himself at the right place at the right time, had mere days to prepare, and used the only building to which he had access. But for a group of conspirators to handicap their own assassination plot requires a bit more ingenuity to explain. He was a patsy, he was supposed to get caught, there were multiple assassins, you know the drill. But there's so much of that in this case. So much had to go just right for a conspiracy and the subsequent cover-up to succeed. From the roundabout process by which Oswald was hired at the Book Depository to the selection of the motorcade route. From Oswald's narrow escape and subsequent arrest to him being given multiple chances to speak with the press. From the supposed tampering, suppression and planting of evidence to dozens of expert witnesses being successfully fooled or coaxed to lie under oath. Not only would a plan as complex and prolonged as this one have been difficult to predict with countless points of failure, but it seems, and excuse my language here, a bit overkill.
Anyway, I was gonna say, I don't think presidents really do this anymore. This whole like going along lines and like, I bought more books today. Hey, Collie, how's it going? I don't think presidents do this very much anymore. At least I don't know. I don't follow presidents, but can you imagine there being like a guy that like everybody clamors in crowds and like reaches for, just like get like a touch of his sweaty, palmy little hand. Like I cannot imagine being that person. Ew.
Yes.
So how about you? Oh, pretty good. We're having a sleepy little Saturday about John F. Kennedy violently dying.
Was rather famous for abandoning his Secret Service detail and wandering off into crowds. In fact, that's precisely
He's just like me for real.
On multiple occasions during this.
Do they? Oh fuck.
Decided to shake hands with one or two more people, but this is the moment where the Secret Service has its point of tension. They say when the president stops moving, that's when we're concerned, because that is when the possibility of trouble comes to the forefront.
This is literally fucking crazy because when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, he was in a moving car. That's fucking crazy. No way.
This was one of those impromptu moments for which President Kennedy is so well known. So many times you have heard that the Secret Service men suddenly find themselves without the president, that suddenly he has left them.
I know they hated his ass. They're like, God damn it, Jonathan.
And give his personal greetings. You could say perhaps that this is more the norm now than the unexpected, because it has been done so many times.
As this news correspondent was alluding to just
You think he just left, or do you think he like tapped a name on the shoulder like, hey, yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, all right, see you in a bit.
Shooting of Oswald.
I have to go sleep now. Nice to meet you. Catch you later. Catch you later. Thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it. Sleep well. It's funny to think about how Abraham Lincoln got put on a t-shirt because his assigned officer went to go get drunk. Crazy. Also a crazy fucking way to word that.
Investigators, witnesses, and so forth. Think about how all these alleged co-conspirators did not have to be a part of any of this. Just one person in a crowd whose guilt is assured the moment they pull the trigger. By roping in this ensemble cast of characters, it inadvertently makes the conspirators seem clueless. I like to imagine a conference room, and up against the wall stands a board upon which they've mapped out the whole thing. All the people they need to manipulate, all the evidence they have to fabricate, the entire patchwork of needless risk-taking laid out bare before them. And they looked at that, and then looked at each other and went, yep, that's a solid plan. But
let me know.
Even if we assume the conspirators didn't really think it through, or, I don't know, made it up as they went along, that doesn't really jive with them not getting caught. Something that would have taken a lot of planning, skill, and ingenuity. So, I guess you somehow have to convince yourself that they were clueless enough to wing the crime of the century, yet clever enough to get away with it. And therefore, there was no conspiracy. No, I don't believe any of these arguments make it impossible for others to have been involved. They just make it a bit more difficult to keep that tinfoil hat firmly in place. I mean, if there was an argument with which to close the book...
I love Let Me Know. He's got just enough like sass and like humor to make his stuff not boring, and I love the sound of his voice.
From the events in question, I can guarantee you that much. Also, the word conspiracy doesn't even necessarily mean that there were other people involved in the planning and execution of the assassination. For instance, there's what some refer to as a benign conspiracy. This typically means that there was a cover-up, but it was not motivated by the concealment of complicity, as is so often assumed. Instead, Oswald did act alone, but there was some other motive behind the suppression of evidence. A common one being that federal agencies attempted to save face by concealing or downplaying the full extent of their failure to prevent the assassination. I mean, a known communist with ties to Russia blindsiding the entire intelligence community by assassinating the commander-in-chief on a public street in broad daylight at the height of the Cold War is not exactly resume material. Point being that there are countless ways to interpret the evidence in a case as vast as this one,
Okay, everybody, we're back. And after that little video, Twitter has one of those VTuber model bingos, and one of the options was not normal color eyes, and I didn't know what to put for mine because I have blue eyes for my model, but by no means is that normal. I mean, I guess it depends on what they mean, because like if they mean normal by like human standards, then like blue and green are kind of like, you know, like on the less common scale. But like they could mean like pink or like red or like you know, just like wild colors. Homophobia in the eye. Anyway, after that long infuriating video about that ended with uplifting messages about, you know, just because all this stuff happened doesn't necessarily mean everything is a conspiracy. There's not a lot, like, you shouldn't like, you know, like panic so much, you know, like there's, you know, be logical, blah, blah, blah. We're going to watch a video about how everything is definitely a conspiracy. And you should definitely take the side of the crazy. I love this video. Okay, here we go. Welcome back, by the way. How was your guys' break? Did you have a nice little 5 minutes? Everything is a conspiracy until proven otherwise. Absolutely, Kali. Wise words by Kalibox WR. You know what? Actually, we're pinning that. Everything is a conspiracy until proven otherwise. I finished my ramen. Excellent. What kind of ramen did you have? I have with me some double strawberry iced cream. I'm gonna eat. Been a long time since I've had like regular strawberry ice cream. Pork ramen. Oh, that's my favorite. I'm not much of a pork eater, but like in ramen, my favorite like a soup ramen, like not instant ramen, is tonkatsu.
Hey everybody, so I was doing research for the iceberg and kept coming across like weird shady government stuff, and a lot of it made me think about JFK, and then I was like, I haven't given my crazy conspiracy rant on him yet, so this is that. I say that mostly as a joke.
This is an older video, but it's still really good.
The most obvious cover-ups that have ever happened in history ever, to the point that there is government records and committees made who say, without a shadow of a doubt, that it was a conspiracy. So I thought, what better way to illustrate that than with a whiteboard? So bear with me, and I am going to show you exactly how JFK was killed and who killed him. What I'm going to do is start with the official telling of events, so we can establish how the official report of everything that happened.
If you have any good JFK videos,
there, I can
hold on.
Pick it apart, and we can see what more than likely happened.
If you have any good JFK videos for us to watch after, put it in the Discord server. Just in general, and we'll fuck it up. We'll watch it.
Word, but
I think there's one more after this one that I'm like,
I hope that you all can appreciate real art when you see it. We give the official retelling of events. On November 22nd,
I should, but I unfortunately don't. No, I hope I introduce you to some today.
Has it been past a minute? It's probably been past a minute. The CIA killed John F. Kennedy. Like, hilariously so, but we'll get to that. 1963, November 22nd, John F. Kennedy and his wife Jackie are going through Dallas on a motorcade in the middle of a big Dallas parade. It was part of his whole re-election campaign. Right in front of them was the governor of Texas and his wife, basically Mr. and Mrs. Connolly. In the front row was CIA agents O'Connelly and Greer.
Anytime I unmute, my dog's barking again.
The official telling of events goes something like this. Lee Harvey Oswald fired 3 shots. The first one was use the Patreon money to get better markers. The first shot was a miss, supposedly bouncing off the pavement and hitting a bystander who we'll talk about in a minute. The second shot supposedly hit John F. Kennedy in the back of the neck.
I don't have boba, but I have ice cream.
Hit John Connolly, the governor, who was sitting in front of him, in the back, right below the scapula.
This is like representative of my ice cream.
Through, so let me draw this out. Bounced through him into his chest, shot out the front of his chest, hit his arm, and then shot down into his knee and came out as a perfectly intact bullet. This is so absurd that the official name given to it during the court trials that would follow is the magic bullet theory. This is why in the famous Zapruder film, in which you can see the assassination of John F. Kennedy,
Yeah, that's the
he's
film that I was talking about
leaned
earlier
over
that I've
like
seen.
this, holding his neck because he had just been shot in the neck. Finally, the third shot
That video is
came,
crazy. It's like
hitting
9
JFK
different
in the back of the
explosions.
head and killing
There's
him.
blood
While
everywhere.
making his escape out of the bookstore, John F.
It
Kennedy
damaged me.
ran into a police officer. He then pulled a revolver and shot the police officer twice, killing
Hello.
him.
Hi, White Ass
Which, I mean,
Sprite.
after you shot
Thanks.
the president,
Thanks for the first time chat. How you
might as
doing?
well add the cherry to it, I guess. It was later found out that Lee Harvey Oswald had communist sympathy ties. As a matter of fact, he tried to renounce his U.S. citizenship some years back, and everyone was happy initially, like, yep, that's the guy that did it. Don't have to worry about anything else. The Warren Commission, which was
Red
the
Scare
board
got
that was put
hands.
together to make sure everything that I just described actually happened, came back after short deliberation and said, yep, Lee Harvey Oswald was the only shooter, and it was not some grander conspiracy.
I know this is going to sound crazy, but can we see his corpse? Is that public information? First of all, Kali, that's insane. Secondly, the other video that I have, that if I still have the energy, I would like to watch after this. I'll have to go digging for it because it's been a while, but it is about JFK's dead body, like what they did with it, how they transferred it back, the funeral and all that. Like, we're on brainwaves right now. This is good stream. This is good stream.
And we can all close the books on this one. So let me tell you why that's wrong. I'll go ahead and say this to be generous. I do believe Lee Harvey Oswald was one of the shooters. However, there is not a doubt in my mind that he was not the only shooter. So let me explain. Remember that first shot that I mentioned that was supposedly a miss? Well, what happened is
The way you're
that
describing the bullet, I
skipped
gotta see
off
the shot.
bed,
No, it's
shot to
crazy.
the other side of the street and hit a man who was standing about 100 yards out, whose name was James Teague. I'm going to be drawing more people so we can keep track. It's our man JT. James
It's our
Teague
man
stopped,
JT.
was watching the motorcade go by, which then a bullet skipped off the concrete and hit him in the cheek. You can even see
That's
pictures
unfortunate.
of that skid mark on the ground from the bullet that came up and hit him, the supposed first shot. However, the big problem to this is James Teague's personal testimony. See, he was walking by the street as the parade was going by and he didn't take much care for it. The reason he stopped and turned to face the motorcade was because he heard a gunshot. Now, if he heard a gunshot, took time to stop and turn, there is no way the first shot was the same one that hit him. But it would make sense if it was the second or the third or more after that. The reason everyone and the official report sticks with 3 shots
That's
is
crazy.
because there were 3 shell casings from Lee Harvey Oswald's window, as well as 3 at least confirmed bullets on the ground. However, JT's testimony here messes all that up, and his isn't the only one. The governor who got shot along with Kennedy, John
All these disagreements over how many bullets there were and all that shit, like, oh, there were 2, oh, there were 3, oh, this one bounced off the fucking pavement and hit a guy in the face, oh, the magic bullet, oh, the grassy knoll, that just like makes it sound like it was a Wild West shootout. Everyone trying to hit this one guy and like maybe one of them succeeding, and it's like, it's crazy. It's like literally the scene of a fucking duel. They had no fucking idea what they were like. As long as John F. Kennedy dies, we don't give a fuck.
Connolly says the exact same thing. He says that there is not a doubt in his mind, nor his wife's, that the bullet that hit Kennedy and him was 2 separate shots. Keep in mind, it's called the magic bullet theory for a reason. There's no way the bullet followed that whole
More like the
trajectory
magic
and just stayed
bullshit.
together perfectly fine. What makes more sense is that it was 2 separate shots. However, Lee Harvey Oswald was using a 6.5mm bolt action
They shot his wife?
Carcano
No,
rifle.
I don't think
Not
so.
to get into all the details of it, but it is literally impossible to fire a bolt action rifle in the amount of time between what would be Kennedy getting hit and the governor getting hit.
But we're
The space
shocked that-
between the 2 shots.
But I'm shocked she didn't get hit, considering that they were just fucking flinging them shits all out of that car. They said, fuck it, hit somebody, I don't care. I am shocked she did not get hit.
Was long enough that they could tell a difference in when each of them was hit, but not fast enough for someone to rechamber around and get a second shot off. Unless there was a second shooter somewhere off to the other side. And stick with me here for a second. I was trying to draw him on a hill, but it looks like he's got really big legs. We're gonna keep it. Anyway, if Texas Red here was off on the other side of the road firing
Texas
shots
Red.
toward the motorcade too, then one of his shots could have crossed through, striking the president in the neck and continuing, which would make more sense why Kennedy was hit in the neck, bent forward, and then one of Lee Harvey Oswald's shots hit the governor in the back. This is a direct quote from former Governor John Connally. "There is my absolute knowledge, and Nellie's too, that one bullet caused the president's first wound and that an entirely separate shot struck me." So where would our man Texas Red be standing? Most of you are probably familiar with the famous Zapruder film, which is the film that is famous for being the one in which JFK gets killed. However, there was another view. There was another camera on the other side of the street that was recording that day that was filming the motorcade from the other direction. In it, everyone who has watched that film has said they can see with absolute certainty puff of gun smokes appearing from the opposite side of the street on what appears to be a grassy knoll. Not only that, but these puffs of smoke
Grassy
are
knoll.
in time.
What is a knoll? Hold on. I Google that. I hate when you Google some shit and like a fucking brand pops up. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm surprised I haven't seen an assassination in so long. Like, I genuinely thought we would have saw one by now. Maybe let's not put that energy into the universe. A small hill or mound. Oh, okay. Also called a hillock. There you go.
With the times that bullet struck the motorcade. So now you may be asking yourself, what do you mean, people who have seen this other film? And that's the fun part. In 1976, a group was formed called the House Select Committee on Assassinations. Now you may be asking, why in 1976, 13 years after the president's death, did they form a committee just to talk about this event? And it's because it came out that the CIA was purposefully hiding information regarding the assassination. Not only that, but they planned after this trial was over to have a trial for the CIA directors that allowed the information to go missing. The original reason that this House Select Committee came together is because new technology was found in '76 that analyzed this data more closely. Using audiograph equipment, and this is my interpretation of that, they managed to pull the audio from the original Signature film and picked out that there were 6 shots fired in this amount of time of the film, not the original thought out 3. They were so reliant on this that, as I mentioned before, they made a whole committee just to relook at all this information. You may be asking yourself, well, what happened to the other film and all the information? And that's the best part. The day after they used that other film footage to determine that there was a second shooter, it all disappeared overnight from a CIA lockup, to which they said that someone probably stole it, along with all the other evidence that proved that something was wrong with this picture. Despite that, once the committee had finished their whole proceedings, this is the official statement they gave in the end. The committee believes, on the basis of the evidence available to it, that President John F. Kennedy was probably assassinated as the result of a conspiracy. The committee is unable to identify the other gunmen or the extent of the conspiracy. That is a government organization coming together and saying, yeah, something definitely weird happened. So we know that something was up, but what makes me think it's the CIA? Well, this is a whole other rabbit hole to go down, but John F. Kennedy was in big support of the CIA until a little thing called the Bay of Pigs happened. He was very upset with them after the fact and supposedly said to the White House Staff Committee, if it was up to me, I would take the CIA, break them into 1,000 pieces, and throw them into the wind. The CIA obviously didn't like that, and for those who know anything about them, they have a tendency to start to follow their own directive when president or states heads don't agree with it. I mean, for evidence, just look at like the 60s drug crisis or sending guns to South America, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, so going with this idea that John
I love him so much. He's such a fucking nutcase.
CIA, if not expose them for what they have already done, it stands to reason they want to do something about it. Also, keep in mind an interview that JFK did a couple months before the shooting. He said that there were scary things happening in US politics and that there were secret societies planning to take over democracy and government systems. And
Chat, what secret societies that are planning to take over democracy are you part of?
But what about the evidence? As I've already mentioned, the CIA lost all the data the day after it was used in court to prove that this guy was actually there. Aside from that, at the least, their handling of John F. Kennedy's motorcade was hilariously
I forgot
bad.
how good strawberry
For
ice cream is.
example,
This
they
shit is so
plotted
good.
out the
Fuck.
map that John F. Kennedy would follow, and they determined that there were 20,000 open windows that the car drove by, and that there were so many windows that they just shouldn't cover any of them, which has got to be the worst compromise I've ever heard. It's like, man, there's a lot of windows. We're going to have to do a lot of work. Or we could not. Also, keep in mind what I mentioned earlier, Greer and O'Connery, the two CIA agents who were in the front of the car. As soon as the first shot rang out, Greer did not try to run away or drive away or anything else that's standard of CIA training.
Yeah, why didn't he
brought
clean the
car
gas?
down to a 7-mile-an-hour speed, and him and O'Connery hunched forward and put their shoulders up. It's so weird that Jackie Kennedy
That's
even came out
crazy.
afterwards and said he was behaving
No!
extremely oddly during the whole thing. To adequately explain the rest of this, I need to bring in another character, the Umbrella Man. The Umbrella Man has
hell
become
yeah.
a famous figure in all the theories surrounding JFK, and there's good reason for it. In the middle of a sunny day in Dallas, right as the president
I'm praying that the Illuminati is real. I think it would be so cool if they were under certain circumstances. That circumstance being only recently formed 10 to 20 years ago. They formed the Illuminati as a result of the Y2K scare.
president's murdered, you can see a
Insane.
man in this Zapruder film who is holding up an umbrella in front of the motorcade. Not only that, but he is standing directly in front of the position Lee Harvey Oswald was in front of, and as he's standing there, JFK passes by, to which he lifts his umbrella, and immediately the first shots ring out. If that is not a man on the ground either signaling...
Yeah, hold on. We need a little... No, not that. Wait. Hold on. Where's my, wait. Hold on, where the fuck is my window capture? Lock that shit. There we go.
that it's the motorcade or giving the all clear to fire, I don't know what is. To top it off, immediately after JFK died,
I'm just gonna keep
there
it
are
there.
pictures of this guy simply shutting his umbrella and setting down at the curb. Keep in mind, everyone else is freaking out, running around, screaming, and this guy just was like, well, yep. During the House Select Committee on Assassinations, they were trying to figure out about this guy because obviously that's very weird and someone should probably figure out what happened here. To which the CIA brought in a man wearing a suit, holding an umbrella. The man walks into the court and goes, "Ah, I am the umbrella man and this is that umbrella." And the judge went, "Seems all right to me." There was no double check. There was no follow-up. They're like, that man has an umbrella. He's got my vote. There's also rumors and speculation that that man was a former CIA agent. However, I couldn't find anything concrete on that, so I'm going to let that part slide. But it's weird either way. Also, in 1966, they tried to reevaluate JFK's autopsy, and his brain was missing. Like, after the initial autopsy.
What? His brain was missing. Like it was just gone? Nah. 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 They said, fuck that shit. No. No.
Autopsy, they took the brain out and preserved it, and no one's been able to find it since. So
that's insane.
I make it that what you will. I have no idea why they would do that. Also, the initial Warren Commission, which was the first one that happened immediately after this, that determined that Lee Harvey Oswald was the only shooter and he acted alone, was made almost entirely up of CIA members who, as it was proved later, suppressed information. There's a few things I want to disprove really quick to kind of emphasize this point. For one of the main theories that is prevailing through all this is that the mob did it, and while I'm sure the mob hated JFK, I don't see why a mob murder would be covered up to the degree that this was obviously and proven to be covered up by the CIA. Like, if the mob killed JFK, and assuming the CIA wants him dead, that's the perfect write-off. They could just say, yep, mob did it. That's cool, rather than having to do all this shady tactics around it. A lot of people also point to Jack Ruby, the man who ran up and shot Lee Harvey Oswald, as being for the mob because his family debts were paid off, but you You know who else would probably pay off family debts? I'll give you a hint, it starts with CIA. The other popular idea is that the KGB.
Why do I fall in obviously scam art account? I fell victim to that
idea because
I fell victim to scam art accounts when I was first starting out. I did the horrible thing where I typed the word commission uncensored in a little tweet I had made, and simply put, hold on. Reposition is blank. There we go. Simply put, my DMs were full, and I didn't fucking know. I didn't know any better. So I just kind of fucked up, and I was talking to them for a while. Like, it took me, like somebody else had to be like, hey, somebody's gonna be like, hey, Pippi, by the way, you're gonna get scammed. Like, these people aren't real.
Because
I was like,
Lee
oh
Harvey Oswald
no.
is proven to have Russian ties, but one, if Russia did do it, they wouldn't get someone who had ties to Russia to do it, duh. And two, the CIA wouldn't cover it up if Russia did it. I also want to say the whole theory about the babushka lady, which was a lady who was wearing a babushka, who kind of similar to the Umbrella Man, just walked around and
wait,
didn't
what's
really
a
do anything.
babushka? Hold on. I thought babushka was just like the Russian word for grandmother. Babushka. An old woman or grandmother. Oh, a headscarf tied under the chin, typically worn by by a Polish or Russian woman. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, babushka. Because, yeah, okay, I understand.
After JFK was
Isn't that
murdered.
the dancing lady? What dancing lady?
I don't really see how that could be related to anything she was
What do you
involved
mean?
later. I think she was just an old woman who was there and saw all of this play out. I also want to go another level deeper with this. There was a guy working at the CIA whose name rhymes with Gorge H-double-oo Mush. Gorge Mush, that's what we'll call him. Gorge Mush was one of the people put over this whole motorcade route and one of the people elected to keep the president safe. So much so that he was in Dallas on the day that this all happened.
No
so
fucking
keep in
shot.
mind, he failed his job harder than anyone can possibly fail. His job was to make sure nothing happens to this guy, and he got shot at least twice. Not long after this happened, that man was promoted to director of the CIA, and then another position. Not only that, but when Gorge Mush was asked years later about where he was on the day of Kennedy's death, he said, I don't remember. You were in Dallas. All of it from head to toe. There's absolutely no way that you could convince me or anyone else who thinks about it sensibly that Lee Harvey Oswald was just a crazy dude who acted alone. It is in my firm and honest opinion, as the opinion of many others, that the agencies and powers that be wanted this man dead. And while I do believe they used Lee Harvey Oswald as part of it, he in no...
My favorite part about this whole video is that the whole thing is called I Proved the JFK Conspiracy with a whiteboard. But like the whiteboard is literally just used to determine who is who. Like, if the whiteboard wasn't in this video, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference. He could just use like PNGs of people's pictures, but he doesn't. Like, the title makes it sound like the whiteboard is like the hinge of this video. That's the proof. But really, it's just like, yeah, it's there.
No way actually.
There sure is a whiteboard in this video.
Agency. But we'll never know, because the only guy publicly who would know, this one, got shot.
The whiteboard
by
is
a random
clickbait.
man whose family debts were paid off before he died 4 months later. So we have the motive, we have the method, and we have the evidence. In my opinion, they are absolutely guilty, and even not of this, some other stuff. Also, just as a side note, a bunch of people are worked up over Texas.
Everyone thinks they're more serious with the whiteboard, or more crazy. It could be a bit.
Obviously, we'll probably never know for sure. But from everything that I've read, there was several CIA works with Cuban guerrilla fighters who were being trained by the CIA for whatever after the Bay of Pigs. And most of the evidence points to a certain Cuban marksman in Dallas that day. So
also, what's your meme channel in Discord?
Either way, it doesn't matter. Because
Wait,
just
do
like
I have
Lee
one?
Harvey Oswald, they were a gun. One way about it. If Lee Harvey Oswald got caught, which he did.
Oh
look,
shit!
Russia
I don't
did
have
it.
one. Give me a second.
And if a Cuban guerrilla fighter got caught, oh look, Cuba did it. Either way,
Okay,
the people
now I
who
have
really
one.
did it wash their hands of the situation and get a walk away. I should also mention, before anyone decides that I am a threat for this, this is a joke. It's all a joke. This is post-irony humor. This is entirely educational. I believe none of it, and you should believe none of it, and everything is a joke. So, tomato potato. Anyway, now that we're done with
Tomato
all the jokes,
potato.
Thank you all for watching. This is something, again.
Hold on. I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna go throw my ice cream away. Give me like 3 seconds. I'm not even gonna go to the BRB. Okay, I'm back. Wait, fuck, I forgot my spoon. Hold on. Okay, all right. All right. I'm back. I'm back for real. I'm back for real. There's one more video. There's at least one more video that I want to see. Hold on. First, Kali, let me see what you put in the Discord server. Kali. I just want to. I'm not kink shaming. I'm kink asking why. Oh my god, wait. I jogged a little too much. I jogged a little too much for that. Hold on. I jogged a little too much for that shit. Have you not watched Evangelion? No, I have watched Evangelion. I don't like looking at that picture. I'm gonna stop looking at that picture because I don't fucking like it. Alright, hold on. Oh my god, wait, hold on. I need a minute. I jogged to go get stuff and the things. Fuck. Oh my god. Fuck. It is so cursed. I don't understand. I gotta curl my fucking legs up. I love how Common was in here and he's like, BRB, I gotta go shower, and then he just never fucking returned. He said, okay, I'll be back later. I gotta go shower, but Twitter maybe see it, so no, you have to see it. Boo! Tomato, tomato, tomato. Okay, wait. So the other video that I want to watch is about his body. JFK funeral, I guess? It's about his corpse. Yeah, why JFK's casket stayed closed. There we go. Shh. Shh, John, you're supposed to be dead. Okay, all right. No capture. We choose to go to the moon. Okay. My goal is to get rich and have a One Piece level party when the One Piece is found. Wow. The One Piece is real! Okay. I'll allow you a few more deep breaths. My body is not one that is built for jogging. All right. Why JFK's casket stay close? And then I promise we can move on from JFK if we're still feeling it after this 40-minute video.
We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained.
And it ought to be possible for American citizens of any color to register and to vote in a free election.
I realize the pursuit of peace is not as dramatic as the pursuit of war.
Oh, there it guys.
This is not a video about the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. At least, not in the traditional sense. Dissecting the minutes, seconds,
I wish
and
Flint was still here.
microseconds before and after the shooting itself. Instead, it's a video about the days that would follow.
They asked earlier about the building.
Of his body,
You know, the shit and
conflict
the
with
stuff.
various funeral homes, and the unprecedented change that was taking place in the American funeral industry. But before we do that, we do have to acknowledge where it all started. Right here behind me, at the 6th floor window of the Texas School Book Depository building.
Also, the way that like all the other windows on that floor are arched, and then the one that like the one that Harvey Oswald shot from is square. That's like, I don't know, something about that. That's very main character energy.
Where Lee Harvey Oswald concealed himself.
I hate looking at his
and built a
face. I don't like it.
sniper's nest from boxes.
He looks so obnoxious. He looks so
From this
punchable.
window, Oswald looked down on Elm Street and waited patiently for the president's motorcade to arrive.
Air Force Number 1, ladies and gentlemen, carrying the President of the United States.
Air Force Number 1, ladies and gentlemen.
On November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy landed at Dallas's Love Field. He was in Dallas as part of a campaign tour for his re-election to the presidency. Although re-election wouldn't be a problem if the Republicans nominated Barry Goldwater. That's a Barry Goldwater joke. I think. I don't know that much about Barry Goldwater.
Extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It was the president, along with his security detail, some close friends and aides dubbed the Irish Mafia, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson and his wife Lady Bird, the governor of Texas, John Connally, and his wife.
Wait, what was her name actually Lady Bird? Wait, hold. Wait. You can't just say that and not elaborate. Holy shit. Wait, never mind. No. Her name was Claudia Alta Johnson, and her nickname was Lady Bird. You lying hag. I almost said a lot mean every word, but I don't like being mean to women. Wait, why did they call her Lady Bird, though? As First Lady... Wait, no, come on. Wait, why did they call her Lady Bird? Wait, hold on, I'm just gonna Google it. Why did they call her Lady Bird? There we go. As a child, someone remarked that she was cute as a ladybird and the nickname stuck. Well, that's lame. That fucking sucks. Anyway.
Wife Nellie and the president.
Back in the day, they really would just give you a nickname for anything, huh?
His wife, Jacqueline, or Jackie, Bouvier Kennedy. They were all
Bouvier?
on a motorcade that would take them through the streets of Dallas. The route had been published the day before, and people were lining the streets. Although not all were Kennedy fans, mind you. There were those who thought Kennedy was a communist, a traitor. A sign read, "Yankee Go Home," courtesy of the Dallas Indignant White Citizens Council.
Duke. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Yankee Go Home and take your equals with you. What the fuck does that mean? I don't like that. I don't like that.
Courtesy of the Dallas Indignant White Citizens.
My long-awaited return. I just made a joke about you.
Forward with the appearance, and President Kennedy and Jackie greeted the public at Love Field. At around 11:45 a.m., they boarded a convertible limousine along with the governor and
I have psychic timing, Kali. Are you seeing this in real time?
downtown Dallas. At 12:30 p.m., the motorcade was on Houston Street and made a hairpin
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
to Elm Street at Dealey Plaza.
She's so cinematic, and for what reason? Love her.
The president's open limousine directly in front of the Texas School Book Depository. People crowded the streets and nearby grassy knoll, waving
Talking shit, yeah, I was talking mad shit.
Of the handsome young president and his beautiful wife, who was perfectly outfitted in an iconic pink Chanel suit and pillbox.
It is a little iconic, I will be honest. She's right about that.
Shots rang out. Two bullets hit President Kennedy. The first in the throat.
I love the way she dies. She dives out of the way. She immediately jumps out of the car. That's crazy.
Chaos ensued. Was it a car backfiring? What was that? The car that held President Kennedy, Jackie, and the governor filled with blood. The president's limousine sped to Parkland Memorial Hospital, 4 miles away, arriving at 12:36.
But didn't speed fast enough to make sure he didn't get shot a second time.
Properly notified. Stretchers were not waiting for the president. Attendants were not there. When Kennedy arrived at Parkland, he was still shockingly, if only technically, alive. His eyes were fixed and dilated, but his heart continued to beat and his lungs fought to breathe. Though doctors knew that the president was most certainly going to die, they continued to administer.
Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine working at that hospital that day? And just kind of minding your own business, and then suddenly the fucking president of the United States pulls up into your emergency room? Could you believe being in that position? I mean, holy shit, that's the fucking president. Like, oh my God.
We know how this part ends. We know that the president would die. This is really where Jackie Kennedy, covered in blood but still very much alive, becomes the main character of our story. Jackie would not leave her husband's side, exhibiting an obstinate...
I don't want to be mean, but she looks like a character from Rango.
...days to follow. She had cradled him as they tried to take him from the car, saying, "You know he's dead, let me alone." She wouldn't even leave him as he was being raced into the trauma room. Jackie ran beside him, her hand on the stretcher. As doctors worked desperately, Jackie made a decision. "I'm going in there," she said. Nurse Doris Nelson, determined to uphold hospital policy, stood in her way. But Jackie would not be stopped.
Fuck her up, Jackie.
Get into that room, she informed Nelson. Dr. George Berkeley, Kennedy's loyal personal physician, came to
becoming the corniest man with the JK edits. Live your corniest life.
"I want to be in there when he dies." Berkeley turned to Nurse Nelson and said, "It's her right. It's her right. It's her prerogative," and led Jackie into the trauma room. The trauma room somehow had even more...
Crazy that you only get to let your... Crazy that you're only allowed to watch your husband die if you're rich.
...to save the dead president. Chief neurosurgeon William Kemp Clark said to Jackie, "Your husband has sustained a fatal wound," and she mouthed the words, "I know." At 1 p.m. Central Standard Time in Dallas, Texas, President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was declared dead.
Actually, it was 107. It was 107. You're 7 minutes off. It was 107 when he expired. He died? Yes, he died.
To the 35th president.
Sorry. He died? That was the funniest fucking part of that footage. Oh my God.
The United States.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Jackie retreated to a folding chair outside the trauma room, sitting silently, politely thanking people.
Cracks neck on stream. Sorry.
Lee Harvey Oswald, a book depository worker who had also shot and killed a Dallas police officer in the chaos after the assassination, would emerge as a prime suspect. But Kennedy's people believed there may be others.
2 more cracks? I don't know if I have any in me. Hold on.
And urged everyone back to Washington.
Yeah, I had 2 more.
Going to leave here without
but if my back hurts after that, it's all your fault.
So the most important order of business became getting the president's remains out of Dallas. In order to do this, they needed a casket. Vernon O'Neill of O'Neill Funeral Home, located 2.5 miles away, got a confidential call from the Secret Service. "This is Clint Hill of the Secret Service. I want you to bring a casket out here to Parkland. I want you immediately." O'Neill responded, "I want you immediately, Chad. Hold on, we've got merchandise at all prices. Bring the best one you have. Any questions?"
Gotta know a sample of how it would sound if somebody... Shut the fuck up, Common. Get out of my chat. Banned. Gross, nasty.
Most expensive. It was over 400 pounds of double-walled, hermetically sealed solid bronze, which Perhaps a spoiler here, is absolutely the worst choice.
Chat, shut up! They're talking about what kind of casket JFK was transported in.
But O'Neill had his orders from the federal government, the best one he had. So he, along with 3 others from his staff, hurriedly loaded the casket into his brand new 1964 white Cadillac hearse.
I don't like the way she said brand new.
Ambulance sign in the window. Jackie went to her husband's side and took.
They're gonna splatter that shit with blood, aren't they? They're gonna fuck something up royally. I can feel it.
Placed an item he had given her into his casket. Now she picked up Jack's hand, and with the help of an orderly, she put the ring on his finger. She turned to Ken O'Donnell, a devoted advisor of Kennedy's, and asked, "The ring. Did I do the right thing?" His response was, "You leave it right where it is." When O'Neill arrived with the casket, people leapt up to shield and distract Jackie from the sight of it. But again, she resisted. When Dr. Clark, the neurosurgeon, told her she couldn't go into the room as they casketed her husband, she said, "Do you think seeing a coffin can upset me, doctor? I've seen my husband die, shot in my arms.
That is true.
Is all over me. How can I see?"
She was sitting right there, bro. You can't do much worse than that.
O'Neill, the funeral director, I imagine, was probably absolutely crapping his pants. I don't care how much of a funeral professional you are, you were just eating donuts in the break room, and 20 minutes later, you're smack in the middle of an event of world historic proportions. What's more, it was becoming apparent that the president could not be placed directly into the casket. Kennedy's wounds were so severe that both O'Neill and Kennedy's people were afraid that the president's remains would leak fluid all over the inside of the casket as it was transported. Opening the casket on the East Coast to reveal such carnage would be unacceptable. So over the next
and they're like, they gotta take him like all the way back to the East Coast. So can you he's like rattling around in there, bro. He is not snug.
Lay plastic inside every inch of the casket with layers of rubber bags around Kennedy's massive head wound. The casket was closed and Jackie Kennedy was eager to get to Love Field. But a new problem had arisen. Dr. Earl Rose, the Dallas County medical examiner. Dr. Rose was all law and all procedure, and in his mind, there had been a homicide on his turf, and Kennedy's body was his to autopsy.
Nah.
These federal government people were flouting Texas statutes and ignoring his duties as medical examiner. When Special Agent Kellerman stopped him from entering Trauma Room 1, telling him, "This is the body of the President of the United States, and we are going to take it back to Washington," Rose literally wagged his finger at them and said, "When there's a homicide, we must have an autopsy." The thing is, Dr. Rose was right.
Look at him. Look at his face. He's so proud of himself.
Shot in Dallas and then whisked away on a plane with no medical and legal investigation. And in 1963, there was no overriding federal law concerning the assassination of a president. There was only state law, and as
really
far
slid
as
by on that
Rose was
technicality, huh?
concerned,
He's so smug. Look at him. He knows what he fucking did. He said, "Fuck you. I'm cutting open some braids today. I don't give a fuck."
Access to the president.
Damn.
Would most definitely be performed in Washington, they told him, and even said that Rose could come along on the plane as the president was transported, but Rose refused. It had to be Dallas County. A death certificate must be filed before the body could be transported, and he was there to uphold that law.
Look at him smoking his fucking pipe, bro.
Were sure would give them permission to leave with the body. Instead, told them it's just another homicide case as far as I'm concerned. Permission or no permission, they were going. With dozens assembled in the hospital halls, Special Agent Kellerman began wheeling the casket out of the hospital. Jackie followed behind, resting her hand on it protectively. Dr. Rose stood at the door, backed
hate
by
this
Dallas
picture of him.
police officers ready to
Hate him.
draw their weapons.
Hate him, but kind of love him.
Stopping them. It was a literal standoff over President Kennedy's remains. Secret Service and the Irish Mafia were prepared to physically restrain Dr. Rose, or even come to blows. But Rose stood down, and all the president's men managed to push and pull the casket
All
out
the
of
king's
hospital
horses and all the king's men couldn't put Kennedy together
One of the
again.
judges on the scene, Judge Theron Ward, hastily drew up a kind of ad hoc burial transit permit, and the neurosurgeon signed a blank death certificate. It wasn't the correct paperwork, but it would get Kennedy out of Dallas. Years later, Dr. Rose's son would say it wasn't fair how Rose was depicted as an unreasonable, petty state bureaucrat with a gripe. And an argument can and has been made that the ensuing conspiracy theories about the assassination might have been less extreme if Rose had been able to keep a tight chain of evidence and autopsy Kennedy as soon as possible, as he did when autopsying both J.D. Tippit, the officer shot by Lee Harvey Oswald just 45 minutes after Kennedy, and autopsying Oswald himself 2 days later. At 2:08 p.m.,
Damn, he's got a star-studded cast under his autopsy
President
belt.
Kennedy was finally on the way to Love Field. Funeral director Vernon O'Neill had also thought he would be acting
Let that
as a
SSR
loyal
subject slip
funeral
under his
director
fingers.
at his funeral home or in Washington. In fact, not only would he not be going with Kennedy, he wouldn't even be going with his own hearse. Kennedy's people drove off without him, and O'Neill
That's
was
fucking
told
crazy.
to pick up his vehicle at the airport later.
That's
He wondered
crazy.
out loud how he'd be paid for all this. It's not really the time for that question, Vernon. Just give him the hearse. You get to write "Loving Home of Final Care for President Kennedy" on your brochures for the rest of your life. Funeral directors love that stuff. The hearse arrived at Gate 28 at Love Field, the airport where just a few
Can't
hours
believe they
earlier,
left him behind. They said
President
bye.
Kennedy had arrived with jubilant crowds. Do you all remember the casket? The one that's over 400 pounds of double-walled, hermetically sealed solid bronze? Kennedy's men insisted on taking the casket out of the hearse and loading it onto Air Force One themselves via the narrow stairs at the tail.
Those poor ramp agents. Yeah, how are they gonna get this shit on the plane? Bro!
400-pound casket, now with a 180-pound body of an adult
Ah!
male, and none of Kennedy's people had ever transported a casket.
Oh no!
They didn't understand that they couldn't just pull the casket out of the hearse.
No,
The
no,
casket
no, no,
dropped into
no.
the floor of the vehicle, a measure that stopped it from jostling around while on the move.
Oh, so no Kennedy
Fair,
jostle.
They could have just brought O'Neill along for this part to be like, guys, it's a little switch right there. But with emotions running high and a near frantic desire to get out of Dallas, Kennedy's men used their
I'm
might
praying
to
on the government's
yank the
downfall. I cannot
Biographer
fucking wait.
Manchester describes 2 brittle cracks as the men pulled on the casket. Finally, it broke free, but not before cracking one of the hinges and leaving one of the handles at the head of the casket nearly broken off.
No!
Undaunted, Kennedy's people managed to load the casket into the tail portion of Air Force One at 2:20 p.m. The move
How?
on the plane was distant, sorrow-filled, awkward, all the things you would imagine. Everyone was navigating the shock alongside this liminal space between the former and future president. Kennedy's people insisted they take off immediately, but Vice President Johnson and his staff maintained they had to stay for him to be sworn in as president before leaving.
That's insane. That's insane. That being like, oh my god, the president's dead body is in the back of this fucking plane. Like, okay. My dogs have things to say about that, apparently. Okay. I'm talking. Thank you. Oh my god, the president of the United States' dead body is in this fucking plane. Like, we gotta go now. We gotta make sure we can get that fucking autopsy and we gotta do all like this stuff. And like, Lyndon B. Johnson is like, no. Okay, listen. You have something I want. We have to be like, no. There's a transfer of power that has to happen. Can we do that now? Can I have the power now? Do I have to wait for this like grieving, or can we just fucking insane, man. No way, he's not real.
2:28 p.m., Judge Sarah T. Hughes arrived and climbed aboard the plane. Kennedy's people, who were very quickly learning they no longer held any authority, tried to protect Jackie from Johnson's request that she be present for the occasion. But she appeared, and quietly with head bowed, took her place next to him. In the iconic photo, the bloodstains are not visible, but Jackie is central, head tipped toward the judge, her eyes fixed, a portrait of grace, grief, and pain.
That is true. She is kind of stealing this photo right now.
Was somber. Jackie sat by Kennedy's casket, with Kennedy's people cramming themselves into the tail of the plane to be close by. People came over to offer Jackie condolences, and she met them with a level of compassion that many would remember with awe. In particular, she insisted that an ambulance drive Kennedy's remains to Bethesda Naval Hospital rather than a hearse, and more importantly, she asked Agent William Gere to drive. Gere had been the one driving the car when President Kennedy was shot.
Bestie. Wasn't Gere a fucking CIA agent? What? You're gonna ask the guy who slowed the car down when your husband got shot to drive the ambulance? Never mind. We're not getting into this.
Overwhelmed by guilt over having not swerved or found a way to save the president. Jackie's trusting him to drive President Kennedy one more time touched the man's soul.
I'm sure it did.
6 p.m. local time, Air Force One arrived at Andrews. Upon arriving, Robert Kennedy, JFK's younger brother and Attorney General, bounded onto the plane. Ignoring Lyndon B. Johnson, a point that the new president remained silent on.
That's funny as fuck.
He went straight to Jackie and said, "Hi, Jackie."
Robert Kennedy W.
It was astonishing how much like his brother John he was in that moment. But something was still to go very wrong.
Oh, there's more, chat. There's more.
It's the casket. It's the casket again. The lift that was sent to Air Force One to lower Kennedy's casket down to the tarmac was too short. Kennedy's people, and Jackie had asked that they handle the casket instead of the military, had to carefully manhandle the casket onto the platform so it could be lowered. At this point, it was abundantly clear that the casket—
Look at them shuffling around!
This jostling would break it further. The casket was finagled onto the platform and lowered, only to find out that it stopped 5 feet from the ground. Now the military did have to step in to help Kennedy lower the heavy, broken casket to the ground. The whole situation—
That's funny.
Was clumsy.
That should not be funny, but it's really funny.
Grotesque. When the president's casket was finally off the lift, it was loaded into an ambulance. Jackie scurried into the back of the ambulance to be with Jack, and Robert Kennedy climbed up front.
Jack and Jackie.
In the 40 minutes it took to get to the hospital after landing, Jackie said to Special Agent Kellerman and Robert Kennedy, "I don't want any undertakers. I want everything done by the Navy." Jackie didn't want any undertakers. If you remember, Vernon O'Neill had believed that he would be caring for Kennedy's remains in Dallas until he was abruptly informed otherwise. There are funeral directors who will watch this and absolutely cringe at all the places things would have gone better and been smoothed over if they had only put trust in a funeral director. And this is one of those cases I think I agree. There is a certain type of funeral director who is equipped to create the absolute pageantry and flawless execution that is expected of a presidential funeral. I, for one, admit I would be completely unqualified. I'd be like Vernon O'Neill in there like, "Oh my god, why am I casketing a president who was assassinated like an hour before? Oh look, they stole my hearse. What is going on?"
Look, they stole my hearse.
Piece of information. Jackie Kennedy—
You don't need this, right? Yeah, you could get it later.
You didn't want a funeral director involved at any point in Kennedy's death care and funeral. This was 1963, after all, and they knew their Mitford.
Triumphant music.
Before Kennedy's assassination in 1963, Jessica Mitford's The American Way of Death was published to huge fanfare. It was a
pretty.
New York Times bestseller.
It's making me feel a little bisexual.
Industry, calling it a huge, macabre, and expensive practical joke on the American public.
Now these are lead-coated steel. Medium price range.
Mitford argued that the funeral industry in America sanitized death, while at the same time codifying its most gruesome practices, including the lavish casket, embalming, makeup, mourning memorabilia, and burial vault.
The Silent Night special. And very special it is too, if I may say so.
Her
Am I gonna get DMCA'd for showing these clips?
So graphic that her first publisher broke their contract with her. When The American Way of Death was published, the average funeral came to the exorbitant cost of between $700 and $1,000. To put this in perspective, the median annual income was only $5,600.
Damn.
Righteous indignation at the high funeral costs and lavish.
I'm willing to bet it's a lot fucking more now.
The zeitgeist of the time. Americans felt deeply taken advantage of by the funeral industry and were ready for a scathing takedown.
This offers maximum protection for a unit in the middle price range.
As an alternative, Mitford argued for the simplest funeral possible with the simplest casket possible, followed by a cremation. There was no need.
And by simplest casket possible, we mean 400 pounds of double-walled bronze transported on a plane to another state, and also, fuck it up, we're gonna have it lined with satin and rubber as well.
For the dead person to be
sprayed, sliced, pierced, pickled, trussed, trimmed, creamed, waxed, painted, rouged, and neatly dressed, transformed from a common corpse into a beautiful memory picture.
Not merely waterproof, nor moisture-proof, Mr. Barlow.
Ew.
But dampness-proof.
The funeral industry,
damp.
as you can imagine, could not have hated this woman more. Not only was she British, she was a former
British.
The Red Sheep.
Fuck, she almost got me with those looks.
Family. To this day,
Had I known she was British, I wouldn't have said anything.
And they can really hold.
I'm joking. It's a joke.
You're just gonna need to trust me on that one. This is one part of what makes 1963 one of the most fascinating years in American death.
Her obsession with death,
and the
like it really
there was the
it fascinates me.
Stepping into the cremation debate and lifting.
Why do all popes look exactly the same? Like all popes.
Like the Kennedy family.
You could tell me that was Pope Francis, and I'd believe you.
About 3% of Americans were cremated. 3%. Now, acceptance of bodily dispositions moves extremely slowly, but numbers began to rise with the.
Told myself I was going to write today, and I did not. There's always tomorrow, or you could always write right now.
I would argue a lot of those percentage points are as a result of the theoretical groundwork laid by Jessica Mitford and those who agreed with her. Which is not to say the legacy is not complicated. My colleague, Dr. Cami Fletcher,
aren't all popes descendants?
That Mitford.
Wait. Are popes descendants? Wait. Papal nobility of the are the aristocracy of the Holy See. What the fuck is that? The Holy See, also called the See of Rome, is the jurisdiction of the Pope in his role as the Bishop of Rome. Okay, composed of persons holding titles bestowed by the Pope. No, those aren't. Wait, no way. Wait, are popes allowed to procreate? Wait a minute. Are they allowed to get bitches? Hold on. Etymology, position in the church, early Christianity. Wait. Can popes have children? There are plenty of popes in history who, despite their vow of celibacy, have broken this rule. They include popes who were married, had long-term partners, lovers, and even a few that had children. Some popes in history have even been known to be a son of previous popes. Oh no! Oh no! They're not supposed to, but they do anyway. Ah! That's crazy.
Was so worried about the cost of funerals that she wouldn't allow her argument to be complicated by race, ethnicity, immigration, or even gender. And while I agree
those are good points to bring up.
Overall critique of the funeral,
you know, Christians rarely follow their rules. Get him, Collie, get him.
I can give you our eternal flame in either perpetual eternal or standard eternal.
I devoted a whole chapter in my first book to why telling families to cut out all ceremony and get the least expensive cremation you can find is not always the answer. It's the realistic interaction with death and rituals around the dead body that people were being cheated out of by the funeral industry, not just money. But most important for our purposes is that by the time of Kennedy's assassination, Mitford's book had infiltrated the Kennedy circle. Robert
Infiltrated. God damn it.
had Jack and Jackie's close friend, William Walton, his brother-in-law, Sergeant Shriver, and possibly, but not proven, even Jack and Jackie themselves. Unfortunately, unbeknownst,
they look so American.
The involvement of a funeral home had already been discussed in Washington earlier that day. Not only did they need a new casket, and boy howdy did they need a new casket, but despite Robert and Jackie's wishes that the military hospital and only the hospital handle the president's remains, it was not possible. While the hospital could do the embalming, quote, the military isn't equipped to prepare the remains.
Yeah, no.
They weren't restorative embalmers. They couldn't do the work to make Kennedy look like Kennedy again. He needed major reconstruction, and for that,
bro's skull got annihilated.
Joseph Gawler.
Bro popped like a fucking watermelon. The Navy was not gonna fucking do that shit.
In Washington, D.C. since 1850. Gawlers had handled the remains of President Taft and President Franklin Roosevelt. Their viewing hours were even a tourist attraction in D.C.
Ew.
First, they had to perform the autopsy. After accidentally leaving Kennedy in his casket behind with his makeshift pallbearers for 5 minutes outside Bethesda, the error was realized and Kennedy's casket was put
they forgot him? Oh my god. The Pippi Ananassa? It is the Pippi Ananassa. How are you, Spoon? We're watching videos about JFK today.
Once they were there, they realized that the stairway leading to the morgue doors was too narrow for the casket to fit.
This fucking casket, bro!
Handling and more banging up of the already broken casket. Could we just put him on a gurney or something? We can't do this anymore. It's simultaneously the best argument for having funeral directors to handle the body and the best argument against funeral directors, since they're the reason this monster.
Literally, that casket is gonna beat the fuck up so much. You already know it sounds like this. They're like, oh my god, it's the president of the United States. He has to be treated with utmost care. And inside there, he's like, I just got out of a miserable, grueling, annoying body destroying, knee popping, back breaking work day. But we vibe, and as long as you're vibing, make sure you're staying hydrated and all that. I'm sorry about your back. I don't have a joke. I'm sorry about your body. Get some rest. Drink some water.
Paucity of an overpriced, hermetically sealed casket even existed in the first place.
All our units are waterproof.
When the casket finally made it into the morgue, the Handley Britannia casket was opened. And no, the plastic and rubber had not protected the interior of the casket from the carnage. Kennedy's remains were—
Dang, your job broken back before I could. Can we stop trying to fuck each other in chat? Can we— Common's not even here right now. Can we, please? Please. I don't know who released the aphrodisiac in chat. I'm gonna need us to dial it back. Dial it back a little bit.
Autopsy table by the Navy team that would perform the autopsy. Kennedy lay naked on the table. Aside from his head wound, he was remarkably unblemished.
Not the guys. Guys, come on. Please, so the president has died. Have some respect.
Doctors performed an autopsy of the president, taking photos, extracting bullet fragments, examining the body for entry and exit wounds.
Damn, is that rude?
A fragment of the president's skull had been found on Elm Street and had been sent to Bethesda.
Holy shit.
Lieutenant Richard Lipsey.
He shouldn't have killed the president.
There was no question in their minds that the bullets all came from the same direction. What if this suddenly became a second shooter on the grassy knoll video? It's not going to, but wouldn't that be a twist? And conspiracy
I want it to, please.
I know there are conspiracy people in the audience. I just want to talk about rising cremation rates through American history. Don't come for me. Was the CIA involved? Was Russia involved? Who knows? You know who was involved? Jessica Mitford. By midnight, the
Jessica, she fucking did it! She fucking did it!
Jackie, Robert, and Kennedy's people had been discussing the funeral, as well as who would handle the cosmetic reconstruction of the president, should there be a viewing, which was absolutely in question. Jackie remained in her stained suit, still exhibiting enormous compassion to those who had loved her husband. Though the autopsy was finished, the president still needed a new casket, so Ken O'Donnell and Larry O'Brien, another Kennedy advisor and Irish Mafia member, went to Gawler's to get a casket. There's some confusion as to what happened at Gawler's. In the spirit of Mitford, O'Brien requested the plainest one you have, in the middle price range, and he was shown choices by Gawler's. Robert Kennedy thought he spoke to Gawler's about a moderately priced $1,400 casket.
$1,400?
Does not recall.
Wait. Hold on. I don't have any context. How much is a casket worth normally? Caskets. Not clicking any. Wait, let me turn my VPN on. High quality caskets. Burial. What? Where do people go for caskets? You can order caskets on Amazon? You can order caskets on Amazon. How do they deliver the Amazon casket to you? I know, I'm not lying. Amazon.com. You can look at, wait. You can order caskets on Amazon.com. That's fucking crazy. How do they even deliver that to you? Does it come in an Amazon box? Do you have to open the Amazon box to get your casket out? They have reviews. Hold the phone. I don't want to dox my real name for a second. So, what? This one has 41 reviews. What are the reviews? I am so happy I purchased this casket. It is amazingly beautiful, good quality, shipped on time. The price was just right. I got so many compliments at the most difficult time. What the fuck? What? Wait. One of the reviews just has this on it. What the fuck? What is even happening anymore? Oh my god. What the fuck? Delivery was very prompt. Good value and delivery. Huh? Top critical review. Robert Riesland, 1 star. This is not a sleigh, it's a nay. Not very comfortable and too dark when you get 6 feet under. I literally woke up from the dead. It's way too heavy to lift out of the ground yourself after seeing how ugly after seeing how ugly this was. I nearly passed away for the second time. Not a sleigh. Oh my god. Wait. We gotta sort by critical. And fell out during funeral. Horrible coffin. Do not buy this coffin. At my aunt's funeral, she fell out during... Not good quality, and not to mention one of the kids got stuck in it while playing hide and seek. Woke up from the dead. Worst coffin I've ever used in my life. Definitely not recommended. The only good thing was the shipping arrived right on time. Oh my god. Oh my god, wait. Are there any 2-star reviews? No, it's literally just 1 star. Top reviews. Most recent. Not comfortable. If oh god, that's so funny. It's weird that we don't turn humans into compost. That's true. I agree. I feel like people would raise like ethical concerns about it, but I feel like, you know, like if you don't tell anyone, what's the harm? Everyone's going back to the earth someday anyway, and that's how I want to go. Like I don't want like a coffin or anything. Like I just want to go straight in the ground. Because I want to go back to the earth. God. Wait. Fuck. I want to find more coffin reviews now, because that's so fucking funny. This is very comfortable and sleeps well. My only complaint is that I don't have good cell service down here. That's the only reason it gets a 4-star. You can have a tree. Why chop a tree when you could become a tree? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. I love that shit. This is not a sleigh, it's a nay. That's fucking funny. God. This one has 22 reviews. $1,400. Ooh, okay. See, this one's ratio, 5 stars 60%, 4-star 10%, 19% 1-star. Ooh, wait, wait. Wait a minute. Still here's casket. Hey, I got a funeral casket. It looks like people are like sleeping in these. That's what it looks like. I want my ashes to get melted into a sword. Never mind. I want that. Never mind. I changed my mind. Top reviews. No. But I need to know the 1-stars. I need to know. Don't suggest. Grandpa has been running his chops about it. Heard him yelling, it's cold and dark down here. Don't recommend. Grandma fell out and her wig fell off. Issue with White running away from the mountain. What the fuck? Too tight. Grandpa was crammed, but he finally fell asleep. Horrible. Just horrible. Me with my casket has bad ergonomic. Put my body on the rock somewhere and create an urban legend about how my body grants power to its wielder. Hell yeah, brother. That's what it's all about. Oh my god, these are fucking sending me. I just want to keep looking for them. Oh, this one has 50. 50 ratings. Please, 11% 1-stars. Okay, cool. What? Aw. Wait, who gives it a 2-star? Never mind. Curse of maidenlessness. Damn. Y'all are fucking ripping each other apart. Okay, alright. I've become distracted. Okay, hold on. You can buy a 5-pack of casket flags, like those American flags that they choke over like military caskets and stuff. You can just buy 5 of them. Let that little boy know he is not special. Anyway.
But a $2,000 casket was selected.
$2,000! I should have kept watching for like 5 more seconds. God damn.
Expensive vault in the establishment. The total came to $3,160, which was not what Robert had asked for.
That's fucked up.
Brought the casket to Bethesda, where their embalming and reconstruction team, supervised by Joe Gawler's chief assistant, Joe Hagan, went to work, attempting to fill and...
Oh, wait. Damn. He got fucked up. Average is now between 2 and 5K. Fuck.
The president's missing skull and exposed brain with cotton and plaster.
Damn.
The whole time about potential leakage from the skull.
Do you guys think that like the big gaping hole was like the same, or if it was like worse after they chucked him in a plane and brought him to a different state?
And try to bring him back to the Jack Kennedy his wife and brother mourned. Journalist Jim Bishop reported that the morticians were, in a manner of speaking, magicians.
Oh, he's beautiful.
They repaired the president's shattered skull layer by layer, quote, whispering incantations to each other until Kennedy...
That's how it works in real life.
Again. They dressed him, put a rosary in his hands, and placed him into the new casket made of gleaming African mahogany. As this was happening, tensions continued to rise around the question of the viewing. Jackie did not want an open casket, but Robert Kennedy and Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara believed that a president belonged to the people.
Yeah, show him that brain hole, come on.
I want the coffin closed so badly. You can't have it open, Jackie insisted to McNamara in the kitchen at Bethesda. It can't be done, Jackie. Everybody wants to see the head of state. I don't care.
Head, get it? Because his head exploded?
Body,
get it?
It's the most awful.
Because his head was torn apart like a fucking watermelon?
Jack alive, said McNamara later. The tension in that kitchen was unimaginable. In the small hours of the morning, President Kennedy returned home to the White House, the path to the north portico lit by small flames. The light in the East Room glowed. Military pallbearers carried the president's casket to the East Room. And
thinking of the fucking coffin room, yeah.
A priest said a prayer, as did Jackie. She then turned and went upstairs, leaving Robert to keep his promise to her that he'd settle the question of an open or closed casket. Robert asked the military Death Watch, a group of men who would stay vigilant at the dead president's side, to leave, and approached his brother's casket, the lid already opened for him. He looked down at his brother for the first time and realized there was no way his brother could be seen by the public this way. He exited the East Room and asked some other close friends to go look at the embalmed and reconstructed body, letting them know Jackie wants it covered. They would echo both him and Jackie, saying things like, "It's appalling. It's too waxen, too made up." The Kennedys' dear friend, William Walton, said, "You mustn't keep it open. It has no..."
Damn, they must have done a shit job.
"It's a wax dummy."
Ew.
He said. Not him. Robert
wow.
said, "Close it." And so it was.
Good God. That's like an insult to your job. Like, you fucked up. Like, that doesn't even look like the same guy. I'm gonna get ready for my date. Damn, we have a good time.
At Jackie's request, the casket was opened one final time on Sunday before President Kennedy went to the Rotunda to lie in state.
I lied.
Jackie
I get no
wanted
hoes.
Robert and her to have some last
Same.
moments
I
of
get no
privacy.
bitches. I stack no paper. That's how this works.
She asked Special Agent Hill to get her some scissors, and she cut a lock of Jack's hair. As of 12:46 p.m. on Sunday, November 20th.
Tell me how you did that comment. Like, talk to me about it later. I get no bitches as well. Glasses up for people who get no bitches and stack no paper. That's what we are all about here on the Pipiano Nasa show.
She thought.
Let's get bitches later. Yeah, you, me, let's feel the bitches. Let's go.
People came to pay their final respects to President Kennedy. The casket remained shut. While Jackie and Robert did not fully get their wish that a funeral home would not be involved, they kept a tight grip on what this state funeral would be. No 5-foot-tall cross and silver candlesticks that Gawlers brought in, only flowers and simplicity. Well, simplicity for a state funeral.
He was the fucking president, and they spent $3,000 on his casket.
How much did Kennedy belong to the people, and how much did he belong to Jackie and his family? Even I am torn on this. In many ways, I think Jackie did an elegant job of the balance. There is no doubt that Jackie indulged in public presidential pageantry for the benefit of a country in mourning. The same caisson that carried Lincoln also carried Kennedy to St. Matthew's Cathedral.
No way! Rich people, am I right? Damn!
The cemetery Jackie chose as opposed to a Catholic cemetery, precisely because Jackie did believe he belonged to the nation. She chose to walk behind the caisson. Jackie remained in control for this funeral, from the music to asking her son John to salute his father's casket, which appears in this well-known photograph. At President Kennedy's grave, she was behind the placement of the eternal flame.
But when it came to the
eternal
body
flame,
of Jackie,
baby.
Jackie didn't want that kind of funeral for her husband. She wanted something real and raw and connected. She had already sat for a full day covered in her husband's blood. She wasn't interested in turning that visceral grief and destruction into pageantry and the reconstructed waxen image of his face. Something that is often forgotten is that just 3 months before Kennedy was assassinated, Jackie Kennedy had given birth to her son, Patrick. Patrick lived just 2 days before dying of infant respiratory distress.
Damn, that's upsetting.
Jackie would still have been in deep grief for her son when her husband was also taken from her. Maybe she no longer felt it was her job to do everything for the public, and her trauma required something different. What Jackie seemed to want was just access to her husband's body, as it truly was, chaotic though it was. Time for rituals like giving him her ring and cutting locks of hair and dropping in letters from their children. She obviously was uncomfortable with funeral directors, but to be fair, she didn't want anyone around her husband other than their close family and friends. When Jackie herself died, more than 30 years later, in 1994, you saw these same tensions reflected. She made choices for privacy and intimacy. Her body was embalmed in her own bathroom and left right in her living room.
Ew, wait. Ew, that's gross. Ew. Why? Like, mad respect to her, but why? Ah!
Public duty, and would be buried in Arlington Cemetery next to her husband in the same model of mahogany casket as John. Her son Patrick is buried there as well.
Cute.
And as you are probably wondering, you may not be wondering, what happened to O'Neill's original casket? 2 months after President Kennedy was buried,
I was not wondering, but now I am.
O'Neill requested the federal government pay him $3,995 for the casket. That's the equivalent of $37,000 in today's money. When the government balked, he dropped the price to $3,495.
No!
This public attempt to run collections on Jackie Kennedy caused a large drop-off in his business.
Damn!
O'Neill really would have preferred the original casket back instead, given that he had gotten offers of $100,000 for the casket from collectors.
Ew!
The Kennedy family insisted the government just pay for the casket and O'Neill's services, a final settlement of $3,160, and the casket was taken into the government's possession. In late
there are people out there who was like, yeah, that casket that's got all his blood and guts and viscera all over it, give me that. I want that. Like, $100,000. What are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna put it in your living room? Sniff the bloody satin at night? Like, what the why do you want that? Ugh!
Late 1965, a bill was passed
Ew!
to preserve anything associated with Kennedy's assassination.
Ugh, it's disgusting!
Because the casket was discarded and considered surplus, except to those, quote, morbidly curious,
surplus?
it decided it should be destroyed.
Fucking good.
On February 18th, 1965,
this is what people had before they had anime body pillows. I can't believe this.
East of Washington, to a spot in John F. Kennedy's beloved Atlantic Ocean. At 10 a.m., the casket, drilled with holes and weighted with sandbags, was pushed into the ocean from the aircraft, where it
Ooh, I was gonna say something.
Apparently, Kennedy had spoken about a desire to be buried at sea. And as if evidence of how much the funeral industry had changed since the Kennedy
They did that casket like they did a very specific
in 1999, after John F. Kennedy
bad
Jr.'s tragic
person.
death in a plane crash, his recovered remains were cremated, taken out to the Atlantic, some 100 or so miles from his father's first doomed casket, and committed to the sea.
I love the sea.
Thank you, as always, to our patrons, who give us the space.
Okay, it has officially been over 4 hours. So what are we thinking? I gotta fix that. I gotta fix my thing. It's officially been over 4 hours. What are we thinking? How are we feeling about the Jonathan Fitzgerald Kennedy? And was it a conspiracy? Was it not a conspiracy? What was your favorite video today? I'm gonna be looking for people to raid because you know what? It's really nice to have a long stream every now and again. I do really enjoy that. All fake? Like just like the moon landing, like all fake. Interesting. Let's circle back around to that later, Common. Let's circle back around to that later. Who are we gonna raid? Now the cat stream is live, so I might raid some cats. Okay, all right. Thanks for watching that Let Me Know video with me. I'm always great. Hold on. Right. I'm always wonderful and fantastic to watch some stuff with you, and I've been wanting to get that video out of my watch later for a while. I had fun. I'm really tired, so I don't have a lot of goodbye noise. We're gonna raid adorable kittens. So for once the kitten cams are on while I'm on at the same time. So hell yeah. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Because well fuck it. Because yeah, there we go. Because it fuck. All right, let me start over. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and join the Discord because that is the easiest way to get your stream updates. I'm a guerrilla streamer. I have no schedule. You gotta follow my every move. You gotta watch me like Lee Harvey Oswald watched the president before he shot the shit out of him. Please don't shoot the shit out of me, please. Please, I have so much to live for. I have a wife and kids. All right. Thank you all so much for coming by. I'll see you again very soon. I have remembered now that I like to stream, so we'll reconvene rather soon. Have fun watching the kitties, and I will see you again some other time. Have a great weekend. Goodbye. Bye.